Hey guys, hey, good to be back with you one more time. And I tell you, I get a lot of questions from different people who are curious. I've seen this question pop up a couple of times. People ask me, hey, why do you have sort of the setup that you do with playing these games? Why not have, an electronic dice roller, or why not have a dice tower or something like that? So it's kind of hard for me to show you this because I've got sort of a stationary webcam up here. I do have my dice cam that's down here. I'll just give you sort of an idea of what this looks like. So this is the box that I use right here to roll the dice. This comes again from Die Hard Dice, which is a company that I definitely recommend purchasing from. And I have these small metal dice. So you can see I have red and white. I've actually also got a blue one. And I do have a 20-sided die as well, which means that in the future, it's going to be in the long future, considering how fast these replays are going. In the future, it's possible that we can play some Strat-O-Matic. We could use this to play something like Dynasty League Baseball, and to play replay and to play other games like that. That is the reason why I got this setup. Now, the reason why I have, of course, this box is because it makes it easy. It's somewhat magnetic. It's easy for me to keep the dice in the area that I want it to be, right? So, I make sure that I keep them rolled here on this green thing on the inside. I don't have to worry about dice falling off the table that often. You've seen it. It does happen a couple times, but, it's not really that bad. I do have this nice dice container as well that I also got from the company. I think this was included. It comes with this little lid, so when it's time to put it away, it's easy. I can put it away. I just keep it here on the side of the desk. It doesn't take up very much space at all, and it's pretty easy to take care of, right? So that's kind of what the setup is. I do use metal dice. These are metal, which means that they're a little bit heavier than the plastic ones. The reason why is in part because I kind of like the feel better of the metal dice. I trust the roll a little bit better when we use metal, and I also think it looks a little bit nicer. But there are problems with it, as I've sort of shown you before. So when we go over here to this view, you can see now my version of the view has the saturation taken away a little bit here, and the reason why is because I want to make sure that it's as visible as it possibly can be for you when you watch the game being played, right? One of the pet peeves I've had over time when I've watched other people play games are, I don't want to be mean to anybody, but there are some YouTubers who will have like no way of actually showing you like what's happening, right? When it comes to filming these games, it's a little bit tricky. It's sort of like trying to film real baseball, right? It's not much fun to watch baseball if they don't show you like how the fielders are lined up, if they don't tell you any stories about anything, if it's just, pitch, catch, and see if the guy hits it or whatever. You need more than just sort of the center field point of view. You need a little bit of that, but you also have to show us how guys are lined up, and you have to sort of create the drama and create the tension a little bit. Same thing is true with playing a tabletop game, right? You have to be able to sort of have an idea, maybe not necessarily see the boards, but have an idea of where the boards are and what the results are. You have to have an idea of what the dice roll is and what it looks like. We have to know what the cards look like, and we have to be able to sort of follow along with exactly what's going on with the flow of the game. That's what teaches us how you play. That's what makes it interesting, right? It's just nice that when I use NPIII, I can play really, really quickly because most plays only have a single dice roll, and most of the boards are really easy to remember. I don't have to go through, look, and say, oh, is that right? Is that really what that result is? Except for the couple of times where I make a mistake and my memory is a little bit hazy. So it's pretty nice. It works out fairly well. That's the reason why I've set this up the way that I have, right? I figured that if we wanted to do this the right way, we need to have some sort of dice cam, which is what I have. This is another webcam that I have set up here. Same one as the one that I have up there. It's a Logitech, can't remember the specs on it. Works well with Linux. That's the reason why I got it. So that's what I do. I just sort of use that. And then we have, as you can see on the screen, on the right side of the screen there, you have this area. And then you have my mug, much smaller on the other side. And then we open up NPIII, which will be somewhere over here. And you'll be able to see from there exactly what's happening and exactly what the flow of the game is. It's not perfect, right? There's a lot of things that would make it more interesting, such as guys moving around, walking around, or whatever. But it works, right? And it's probably going to be a lot less abstract than watching, say, somebody play with the boards and with cards and dice, writing down things on the score sheet. Plus, then you don't have to worry about reading my handwriting, which is really, really bad. That wouldn't be much fun. And of course, the nice thing about doing it this way is I get the statistics automatically. And so we're not looking around wondering, I wonder what so-and-so's hitting. I wonder what the standings are and all that stuff. I'll give you a little bit of story time behind that, right? Way, way back in the day, more than 10 years ago, about 12 years ago, I played a 1924 replay, and I got right up to around where we are in the 1908 replay with Skatersoft. Actually, I may have gone a little bit beyond this point, but it was right around the same point. And I ended up giving it up. And the reason why is because I was trying to do it the old school style with keeping score myself and all of that stuff and doing it all by hand. I wasn't filming anything or anything like that. Didn't care that much about it. And the problem that I ran into is that I didn't know what even the standings were because I wasn't keeping good track of everything, right? And so it turned away from being a game and into being sort of like box score generator, and that's what it felt like. I was doing the original lineups, the original transactions, following everything as best as I could, but the heart and soul of it was gone because I wasn't really engaged with the project, right? We want to make sure that we're engaged with the project, and we want to make sure that our time is focused on things like, who are these players? What do we know about them? What can we learn about them? How can we make this more interesting for ourselves and for people watching it? And, spending less time focusing on, I have to do all of this math and I need to get this done before I play the next game, or we'll never be able to catch up and all that other stuff. That's not so interesting. So that's the reason why you see me use these computer games to play a board game. I'm probably going to do something similar in the future, right? Even if I'm going to play board Strat-O-Matic, play Strat-O-Matic Basic, I'll probably either whip together something on my own or use something that somebody else whipped together so that I don't have to do every single step by hand, because that's not much fun, and not only is it not engaging for you, it's not engaging for me. What's the point of that project? Right. So there you go. That's why I do this the way I do now. Why is it that I don't have like a dice tower? The reason why I don't have a dice tower, honestly, is because I've never really seen the need, right? So people have asked, does it not hurt your wrist to roll the dice? Not really, right? I could do this for a long time. I'm relatively young, right? It might be a different story when I'm older. And if it is a different story when I'm older, then yeah, I'll find a dice tower and we'll get something figured out, right? But I could do this pretty frequently. I could do it all day long. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't play a crazy number of these games per day anyway, and it doesn't really take that long. I mean, you've seen how quickly I play. It's not that bad. Next question is, why don't I use something that's more like a computerized dice system, that you could see on the screen? You could see like probably in this part of the screen. The reason why I don't do that, honestly, is because I like to have the replay in my own hands. I like to feel like this is my replay, that I'm playing it, and that this is not like, something that I kind of clicked through that, it was a fun thing that I watched happen. Rather, I want the replay to be part of me. I want the replay to be something that I helped create and something that I pushed through. Now, we could disagree on that subject, and I think that there are many people who do think that, it's probably better to do it with some sort of dice roller that's a little bit easier to follow on the screen. But personally, for me, I would prefer to have the dice in my hand. If I could do it with Diamond Mind, I would do it, but I don't think they make dice that big. But that's sort of the way that it is. Every one of these games and simulators is different. You're not going to see me play only games that have dice components or dice options, because that would be a little bit inhumane and barbarian, right? We're going to play with a whole bunch of different types of games as the months and years go by, and you'll see a little bit more than what you've been seeing now. So if you don't like Skeetersoft NP3, never fear. There's more stuff coming up, and there's more interesting stuff that will come along for you in the future. So there you have it. That's kind of what the focus is, and that's what the strategy is, and I will talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.